All right, everyone. Now we have to talk about Nikki Haley because, I think she's gone around the bend. She spends over $70 million, months of her time, and gets the gubernatorial endorsement from Chris Sununu in New Hampshire. She still loses by double digits. Nonetheless, she is pledging and vowing she is going to continue campaigning, which means she's going to her home state of South Carolina. She's presumptively going to pal around there and canvass. The problem being in the most recent polling, she was 35 points behind in South Carolina, and having won another state, Trump now gets another bump potentially. The electability argument is no longer on the table. The problem for Nikki Haley is that she has effectively three selling points. I'm electable and not Trump. Trump bad, orange man bad, and hey, let's return to the party of George W. None of these are good selling points anyway, and the electability argument is now off the table. You lost two states in a row by double digits. You didn't come close in New Hampshire. You came in third in Iowa. You're heavily disfavored in your own home state where you have a lot of baggage and a lot of people who hate you. Where are the votes going to come from, would be my question. I think that Nikki Haley is setting herself up to be absolutely humiliated. She's going to lose in Nevada, she's going to lose in South Carolina, and then we wait to see how truly batshit she is. She might still not get the memo and might go into Super Tuesday. I might get my wish after all. Actually, I'm glad, because I predicted the other day that if Haley lost by 15 points or more, if the gap was 15 or more, she'd drop out. That if it was closer than that, she would stay in. That she's delusional. Indeed, she's losing by about 11 points there. There's still some votes to count. It might be 12, but it probably won't move much. And so she's decided to stay in. So actually, I will get to live stream on for South Carolina and Nevada, which is going to be hilarious. Nevada, you've got a caucus and a primary at the same time, only the caucus of which is being counted, but Trump and others aren't even on the primary ballot. So Trump will win there. I guarantee that. A 100% chance of a Trump victory in Nevada, by the way. It's not even being contested by Haley as far as I know. That'll be fun. And then South Carolina. This is Nikki Haley's home state. If you cannot win in your own home state, you are thereby humiliated. I'd expect it to be about a 20-point gap in the end. I think she'll make up some lost time, but it's not going to be nearly enough. Much like we saw in New Hampshire, Nikki Haley's strategy was not effectively to get Republicans to vote for her at all. It was to get undecided voters that hadn't registered with a party to pile aboard simply on the platform Stop Orange Man. It didn't work in New Hampshire, not even close. It's not going to work in South Carolina, which I believe is also an open primary state. Ta-da! I mean, the election is over already, effectively. For primary purposes, it's over. Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. That's going to be the matchup unless one of them croaks or unless Biden at the convention says, you know what, I know I got all these delegates, but here's my handpicked successor. Which could happen. There's about a 10% chance of that occurring. Of course, he's old. He's incoherent. He's got massively low favorability ratings. He's not even liked by his own party. A majority of Democrats don't want him to run. Trump now, though, is inevitable. On the GOP side, unless Trump literally croaks or has a stroke on stage or something, we know who the nominee will be. Nikki Haley, therefore, is doing one of two things. Number one, she's absolutely delusional, which would not surprise me given some of the statements she's made on the campaign trail. She's had a string of errors and mistakes over the last few weeks. Again, 11th hour, right before New Hampshire, the one state where you are actually canvassing and putting out ads at all, and you keep saying weird shit, stabbing yourself in the foot, and somehow you think that that's going to be helpful for you. So if she can't win there, she's clearly not going to win in South Carolina. Trump will be reelected. Or, conversely, if she's not delusional, then she's just trying to effectively hold on until the convention and hope that there's shenanigans and they broker it and she's got some delegates and so they just choose her. Or maybe she's just embezzling the money for a future political run. The problem is if you go into your own home state, and this is why, she would be even more batshit if this was her strategy. If you get humiliated in your own home state and then look for a Senate seat or something like that, I just don't think that that's going to work. All signs point to her simply being delusional. She does not seem to understand that she lost. You lost in the state where you put all of your effort in. Ron DeSantis, to his credit, understood this when he came in a distant second in Iowa, where he had spent all of his effort and his money, and he dropped out. Because he is smart. He's aware of the fact that if he proceeds, he gets humiliated. If he goes into Super Tuesday and loses his own fucking home state, he doesn't have a political future. Nikki Haley, I guess, is just throwing up a literal Hail Mary at this point and is genuinely delusional. I think she genuinely does not understand that she doesn't have a chance. I don't know whether it's people around her telling her how great she is, or whether it's just her own ego getting in the way of common sense. She genuinely seems to believe that she has a shot at the nomination, absent a brokered convention. That's the only other possibility. It's the only other way to explain it. Nikki Haley's been in politics for a while. She's not a newcomer in this particular game. She was UN ambassador. She was governor of South Carolina. But, I mean, Tim Scott is making fun of you at this point. The senator that you literally handpicked for that role is currently backing your opponent and making jabs at you. Which, by the way, is getting him earned some nicknames by the NIMBY white liberals. Yes, they're using that language that I cannot replicate on YouTube without getting banned, actually, at the moment. Oh my god, the only term that I can use is Uncle Tom. They're Uncle Tomming him, which is very funny to see. They're a very bigoted bunch of people. Nikki Haley's delusional. She doesn't seem to, I mean, did she actually look at the results? Or did they decide, did her staffers hand her a different sheet of paper that said, oh, don't worry, you only came in a point behind, you did well, or something like that? They gave her some of the early polling results? I guess it was the Dixville Notch voters that really put her over the edge of madness. She's nuts. Genuinely, literally nuts. There is no other logical explanation to why, after coming in sucking hind tit in both Iowa and New Hampshire, having to go and reorganize in your home state and hope not to get completely ass blasted there, there's no logical reason to remain in the race. What the fuck are you doing? Ron DeSantis has a political future because he dropped out before his home state decided to vote and said, look, if I can't win in Iowa, I spent all my effort there, it's over. He saw the writing on the wall, he took the temperature of the room, and he decided to stand down. Now he has a political future. He can run for the Senate, he can run in 28, etc. And he is on the short list, by the way, for potential presidential contenders, especially if Trump wins and does well. Because he can say, well, I endorsed him, he. Well, there's your political future. You're one of the front runners right out of the starting gate. Nikki Haley's going to be nowhere. She's, I don't know, maybe she's just, she wants to have a book deal. And she figures, well, if I don't keep campaigning, I'm not going to be able to name it How I Almost Won by Nikki Haley. How I Almost Girl-Bossed My Way into the Presidency. Her book will be called Fellas. That's her new slogan. Oh, the fellas didn't vote for me as much. College-educated women did, though. And somehow this voting block is supposed to put you over the edge. Especially in your home state. You're more than 30 points behind there. She's fucking batshit. This is a crazy chick. Literally, I mean, you hear her comments with regards to diplomacy, like foreign policy. You would guess that she was batshit anyway. I think she's genuinely delusional. Like, not in normal politician way, like, okay, you get high apple pie in the sky or something like that, but legit, I think she's mentally sick. Something is clearly wrong with Nikki Haley, and poor Chris Sununu couldn't deliver a win, so he doesn't get any more pussy on the side. I'm 99% sure they've been banging for an extended period. Hey, I'll endorse you, but it's going to cost you. Now get on your knees. Nikki Haley didn't need any further encouragement, I think. That's about all. Peace out.